grapple with how to combat this existential challenge. Yet, two of the world's most powerful players, Europe and the United States, find themselves on starkly different paths. Europe, under the banner of the EU Green Deal, has embarked on an ambitious journey towards sustainable agriculture, the goal to decouple food production from environmental degradation. Across the Atlantic, a resurgent Trump administration has doubled down on its pro-industry climate-skeptic agenda. Deregulation is the order of the day, with environmental protections sacrificed at the altar of economic growth. The contrast couldn't be starker. On one hand, we see a commitment to science, a recognition that our current agricultural practices are unsustainable. On the other, a head-in-the-sand approach, a denial of the overwhelming scientific consensus on climate change. This divergence in approach has profound implications, not just for the environment, but for farmers, consumers, and the future of food security. The stakes are high. Climate change is already impacting agriculture, with extreme weather events like droughts, floods, and heat waves becoming increasingly common. These events disrupt crop yields, threaten livestock, and jeopardize the livelihoods of millions of farmers. The choices made today will determine whether we can feed a growing global population in a warming world. The question is, which path will prevail? The path of sustainability or the path of denial? The European Union's Green Deal is nothing short of a paradigm shift. It represents a fundamental rethinking of the relationship between agriculture, the environment, and the economy. At the heart of this transformation lies the farm-to-fork strategy, a comprehensive roadmap for achieving a fair, healthy, and environmentally friendly food system. The strategy sets ambitious targets for 2030, a 50% reduction in the use of pesticides and fertilizers, a 20% reduction in nutrient losses, and a significant increase in organic farming. These targets are underpinned by a commitment to innovation, research, and the development of new technologies that can help farmers adapt to the challenges of climate change. The EU Green Deal is not without its critics. Some argue that the ambitious targets will be difficult to achieve without jeopardizing the livelihoods of farmers. Others worry that the focus on sustainability will lead to higher food prices and reduced competitiveness in global markets. However, the EU remains steadfast in its commitment to the Green Deal, viewing it as not just an environmental necessity, but also an economic opportunity. In stark contrast to Europe's green ambitions, the United States under Donald Trump has charted a course of deregulation and climate denial. Trump's return to the White House in 2025 has only intensified this approach, rolling back environmental protections and promoting the interests of big agribusiness. Trump's mantra of America First has translated into a dismantling of the regulatory framework put in place to protect the environment and public health. The Environmental Protection Agency, once a powerful force for environmental protection, has been systematically weakened, its budget slashed, and its authority undermined. This deregulatory zeal has been a boon to big agribusiness, which has long lobbied against environmental regulations. Freed from what they see as burdensome regulations, these corporations have ramped up industrial farming practices, prioritizing short-term profits over long-term sustainability. The result is a system of agriculture that is highly productive but also highly damaging to the environment. Section 4. Sowing the seeds of discord. The divergent paths taken by Europe and the United States have created a transatlantic rift on climate change and agriculture. This rift has implications for trade, diplomacy, and the global effort to combat climate change. The EU has made it clear that it intends to use its economic clout to promote sustainable agriculture. It has threatened to impose carbon tariffs on imports from countries that do not meet its environmental standards. This has put it at odds with the United States, which sees such measures as protectionist and a threat to its agricultural exports. The Trump administration's withdrawal from the Paris Agreement has further strained relations. The agreement, which aims to limit global warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius, was a landmark achievement in international climate diplomacy. Trump's decision to withdraw the United States, the world's second-largest emitter of greenhouse gases, was a major setback to the global effort to combat climate change. Section 5. Reaping what we sow. The contrasting approaches to climate change and agriculture adopted by Europe and the United States have profound implications for the future of food security. The choices made today will determine whether we can feed a growing global population in a warming world. Europe's commitment to sustainable agriculture, while challenging, offers a path towards a more resilient and equitable food system. By investing in innovation, research, and the development of new technologies, Europe is positioning itself to be a leader in the transition to a more sustainable future. The United States, on the other hand, risks being left behind. Its reliance on industrial farming practices and its denial of climate change threaten to undermine its own agricultural sector in the long run. The short-term gains of deregulation and climate denial are likely to be outweighed by the long-term costs of environmental degradation and climate change. The future of agriculture, and indeed the future of humanity, depends on our ability to transition to a more sustainable and equitable food system. The choices we make today will determine whether we reap the rewards of a healthy planet.